As you already know, Brexit did not happen immediately after the Brexit referendum in 2016. There were indeed exhausting negotiations between the UK and the EU, first about the exit of the UK, and then about the future relationship between the EU and the UK. After the official Brexit on January 31st in 2020, where the UK officially left the EU and with it the Parliament, and we got rid of Farage, there was a transitional period until December 31st in 2020 to implement the new relationship. There are indeed some longer transitional periods for some areas, but this was the most important one with the most consequences. And people are talking a lot about the level of preparation for Brexit on different sides, or especially the lack of preparation. So in a number of my videos, I will give you an overview about the extent of preparations by different countries involved, and of course the UK and the EU. And today I will tell you about the preparations in Luxembourg. After the Brexit referendum in June 2016 and before the end of the transition period on December 31st in 2020, Luxembourg, like many other European Union member states, undertook a series of preparations to address the potential impacts of the United Kingdom's withdrawal from the EU. And as usual, I have some key aspects of Luxembourg's Brexit preparations during that period for you. Luxembourg, being a significant financial center and home to many international institutions, recognized the potential disruption that Brexit could cause to its economy and its relations with the UK. The Luxembourg government engaged in extensive contingency planning to ensure that its financial and business sectors would be adequately prepared for various Brexit scenarios. Luxembourg conducted impact assessments to understand the potential consequences of Brexit on different sectors of its economy, including finance, trade, and services. And this allowed the government to identify potential risks and areas of concern that required mitigation measures. Given its status as a major financial hub, Luxembourg paid particular attention to the potential impact of Brexit on its financial services sector. Many financial institutions in the UK were using passporting rights to operate in the EU. In anticipation of the end of these rights, many UK-based financial firms set up subsidiaries or branches in Luxembourg to maintain access to the EU market. Luxembourg also prepared for changes in customs procedures and trade regulations that would come into effect after the transition period. This involved upgrading customs infrastructure and ensuring that businesses were aware of new customs requirements and paperwork. And Luxembourg, along with other EU member states, negotiated the rights of EU citizens living in the UK and UK citizens living in the EU. The goal was to provide assurance to affected individuals that their rights would be protected even after Brexit. And the Luxembourg government engaged in a robust communication campaign to inform businesses, citizens, and stakeholders about the potential impacts of Brexit and the measures being taken to address them. This included providing information through official websites, seminars, and consultations. Different government departments and agencies coordinated their efforts to ensure a coherent and comprehensive response to Brexit. This allowed Luxembourg to develop a unified approach to addressing the various challenges that might arise. And Luxembourg, as an EU member state, participated in negotiations with the UK, both at EU level and through bilateral channels. This ensured that its interests were taken into account during the negotiation process. Overall, Luxembourg's preparations for Brexit were aimed at minimizing disruptions to its economy and maintaining its strong ties with the UK while adapting to the new post-Brexit reality. These preparations reflected the broader efforts of EU member states to navigate the complexities of the UK's withdrawal from the EU and the subsequent transition period. Before the end of the transition period on December 31st, 2020, Brexit preparations were considered highly important for all affected countries, both within the European Union and the United Kingdom. The transition period began after the UK officially left the EU on January 31st in 2020, and it allowed time for both parties to negotiate their future partnership and make the necessary arrangements. And those preparations were really important, but differ very much on different sides. That's why I think it's important that I filmed this little series. And if you want to know something more right now, the next video is right here in the, that happens when I want to say one sentence I made up for ages, I used for ages after a long day of working. But nevertheless, if you want to know more, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.